Hello YouTube newsletter and survival group subscribers. This is Terrell from Terrell03.com, and this is a Kilauea update. Putting newsletter together today, and this is something that was left out. And in going over the diagrams, and diagrams like this one right here, then some revelations are coming to me that are very important. So this is the latest update that I could find on Kilauea reactivation, unlikely in near term. Remember, this long-term eruption began back in 1983, and I want to look at some of the information, some of the things that stuck out to me. There was a sub that said that my volume was down a little. Got my mouth closer, had everything turned to maximum, so maybe a little higher than some people are used to. Kilauea volcano has maintained low-level activity over the past 2 months. The last summit collapse was on August the 2nd, 2018. High rates of seismicity and deflationary deformation at the summit stopped abruptly on August the 4th. Consistent with cessation of major eruptive activity. Lava ceased flowing from the upper portion. Okay, this is August 6th. And then ocean entries were inactive in late August. You see, what they're describing is a gradual slowdown taking place through August. Then lava was last seen September the 5th, Fissure 8. The total, remember, this is what we're trying to follow to make the connections. The total sulfur dioxide emission rate has dropped way down, way down. And remember that the high sulfur emissions were coming out of Galapagos and out of Kilauea during the time that the earthquake activity was extremely high. Now, all that stuff is stopped, and there's a point to this here. So seismicity remains low across the volcano. It's like 1 event per day. The ground deformation continues, but at rates well below those during the period of major, of course, way below what was happening as the mantle plume connection was being made at May the 4th. That's what caused all the activity. An exception is within the Middle East Rift Zone. Okay. So, one interpretation of this signal is the rift zone is refilling with magma following withdrawal during the 2018 eruption. This is going to be wrong. What's happening here is something that's different. An increase in this refilling rate or other change could result in new eruptive vents along any portion. Okay, what Kilauea is going to do next, it's impossible for these guys to say. They're in uncharted waters, just like the Project Black Star investigation is in uncharted waters. Current monitoring data do not suggest a return of eruptive activity or summit collapse in the near term. So they're not looking for any changes. They're looking out there where they usually see gurgling and eruptions all the time since the 80s. They're not seeing that. So they're closely monitoring what's going on. This is the interesting part. This change in activity marks the first time since 1986 that lava has not been active at Kilauea's surface for a period of 30 days or more. And there's another article that I ran across where this seismologist is ending his career. It began with Mount St. Helens, and it's ending right here, and with the collapse of this crater. The long pause was 48.5 days between episodes 39 and 40. Expect that record's going to be broken in not too long. In the past 200 years, the volcano has experienced periods of quiet with no activity. However, Kilauea is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. It sure doesn't look like it right now, does it? Then these gas emissions have reduced. There's something else I wanted to share with you down here. And there's another story that I'm about to pop in front of you too. That was sent to me by Bonnie. That's what led me to doing this research this morning. Before doing the It's going to be impossible to cover all this in the update report. Okay. So, what's going on with Kilauea? The scientists can't say what's going to happen. But here's the deal. This magma plume formation right here, you see this part that's right here? As this is growing bigger, this is growing bigger, and this pushed underneath Kilauea, so that the mantle plume connection that's coming from the core, what formed the islands, is now cut off from the volcano. The energy is going into the magma plume formation that is growing out of control. That was like this in that picture back in 2015, but now looks more like this, growing around the entire world. So then also pulled up, I'm wondering what's going over here at Galapagos. And this volcano that's right here, heat radiation during the past months, the eruption that had been going on since late June has significantly decreased and even stopped. Same situation here where the mantle plume connection has been made to the magma plume formation. So the energy that's been feeding these volcanoes is now going into the magma plume formation. And the concerning part for me is that the scientists are not making the connection between this that's growing around the world, the mantle plume connections being made, and the lack of activity where we've just had severe activity. And they're kind of playing it off like, well, the activity's going down, you know, we're going to keep a watch on it for you. But they're not telling you all these other details that in time lead to catastrophic destruction. As this magma plume formation continues, grows. I'll get more into that in the update report. The interesting thing here, scientists find weird reason driving plates get stuck 400 miles below the surface. 400 miles, what is that? It's the bottom of the transition zone. See? A slippery layer about 670 kilometers. That's the bottom of the transition zone. That's where the glassy magma transitions to metal. At 410 kilometers above this, that's where the transition is from rock to glass. It's inside this glassy material, inside this earth mantle transition zone that they don't even mention. They just give you the depth here. That they're discovering by observation, by activity, by using sound waves. Because of the activity that's taking place. More activity gives greater opportunity to identify anomalous activity. That's what they're trying to describe right here at the bottom of earth mantle transition zone. That's the bottom of where you see this formation. The bottom of the formation is at 660. The top of the formation is at 410. The horns stick up above, out of the transition zone, and as the deep earthquake events pass through them, then these horn formations rise up and produce the pattern of 5 magnitude earthquakes at the 10-kilometer depth. 10-kilometer depth. 10-kilometer depth. This is the new line that I'm about to report about. You know how I've been reporting that there's been no activity off the west coast of Mexico? Now you see all this activity at the 10-kilometer depth. I've been warning you that this activity, the larger earthquakes, are coming this direction, and they are. Here, they're marching right here up the coast. Then look at you see the one at 10 kilometers here? That's in my update report too. You have a link to it in my report. That's going to be caused by the ones that you see popping up through here. This is more magma plume triggered than on previous orbit cycles. So the key point that I'm trying to get across here is this article right here in the update. I think the scientists are going to be really surprised when the record is broken. This 45-day record is going to be broken for no magma coming out of Kilauea, and it's going to continue, is what it looks like. is imagine that deep magma plume, that deep mantle plume connection is like a giant fire hose, and it's sending, that's what's been sending heat energy up to Kilauea to form the islands for millions of years. It's cut off. That's not normal. That's not supposed to be happening. There's nothing that's happening here that's normal. The mantle plume connection was made, making all that destruction from May the 4th all the way to August the 4th. Then you see everything going backwards because the leading edge of that magma plume formation pushed far beyond Hawaii. So the energy being spread more and more. It took 3 months for that phenomenon to take place, and you can see it in the seismic chart. So just want to give you an update. Kilauea mantle plume connections are made now to the magma plume formation, and that has caused this right here to grow into this. This is what is the new global tectonic new volcanic eruption dynamic. This is the trigger right here for seismic activity on our planet, the dominant trigger, where harmonic tremors from this area are being, the energy, these deep earthquake events are striking down in that magma plume formation, in Earth mantle transition zone, and through the buoyancy barriers. These are buoyancy barriers trying to contain it, like giant blobs. But these terminal ends are created. The energy, boom, 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 big deep earthquake events. Remember, we had 50 of them. The energy courses through, and it pushes the terminal end. These terminal ends are all being pushed by the engine right here. And there's also another pattern there here that I'm going to show you. If you remember my commentary, then we have reset earthquake events. Papua New Guinea, 7.9 from 2017, 7.5, and they're both struck in the same location. The reason is because deep earthquake events send all that magma wave energy to the terminal ends. But then, like the water, like waves that go to the other side of your pool, they come back. That's what happens. So the energy that's pushed up here tests the terminal ends, raises these horns, it gets to the end, and then the wave starts coming back to the origination zone right here, to the center of the origination zone. That can vary back and forth depending on how the amount of time it takes for all these waves to reconverge into this area. But what that does is it produces earthquake events like this. Doesn't that look familiar? Right in the middle of the origination zone. The difference is that the earthquake events, the resets that took place, they were at the 10-kilometer depth. This one's a little bit deeper, into the 40s. So this is the engine, these deep earthquake events right here, and then it goes through those corridors just like I showed you. My problem, especially with the scientists that focus specifically on Kilauea, is that they are not making the deep magma plume connection to the mantle plumes that are no longer feeding these volcanoes. They're feeding the magma plume formation. Somebody else should be, NASA should be telling you about this, USGS. They should be telling you about this, and they're not. That's what bothers me. So, heads up. This is what's really happening. Appreciate Ryan. I realized that I called him Randy last week. And part of the reason is because of hurrying through. He was wrapping things up at the same time I'm doing the report. My mind's is everywhere. And then by the end, I really wanted to share his work with you, and I got a little ahead of myself. And really nice work that Ryan's doing, and it creates the opportunity to help you to visualize better what's going on. And so how do we know this is happening? It's because of the pattern of these earthquake events at the 10-kilometer depth, you see. That's telling us what's happening. Look at the South Pole, how it's surrounded by these events. See, sometimes they are striking between 35 and 41 kilometers. It's been happening a lot right over here. So, getting ready to make the report, wanted to include this this little presentation, an update for Kilauea. because that's going to help you to understand why there's no activity here. This is not a natural thing that's happening over here. This is a change, big change, in the global tectonic volcanic dynamic. Energy that would go to Kilauea, that would go to Galapagos, that would go to Cobb, is now going into the magma plume formation. As these connections are being made, you see a lot of activity whenever they first connect, because the leading edge of the magma plume formation is nearby. As everything grows and expands, then that energy is dispersed more widely into the magma plume formation. And so you do not have the activity. You don't have the mantle plume extending up through the magma plume. It goes to it. And then the connection is broken from 410 up to the crust. That's the thing to realize. So thank you guys very, very much for your support of the research. Get more information right here at the website, and new things coming. See, I'm trying to make more videos, trying to use my time a little differently than in the past. So I try to do you guys a information video every day. Going to do my best. It's more difficult on Wednesdays and Thursdays whenever I'm jam-packed with work, but I'm going to do my best, slowly, gradually making the transition and bring you more science-based information, keep everybody on the same page. Appreciate you guys' support very, very much. You can support the research right here, and subscribe to the Survivor Group program and newsletter program. The newsletter program only, it's only $2 a month. And then when you get ready to upgrade, just click this button right here. If you want more information on subscriber benefits, click on that and watch the video. So thank you guys very, very much for your support, and look forward to I'm going to do the updates here in just a few minutes, get the newsletter finalized, and then I'm going to keep my eye on things and try to make more of these shorter reports on these various topics. If you have topics that you feel need to be covered, you're a subscriber, newsletter subscriber, Survivor Group subscriber, please send that to me, and you guys can help shape the narrative moving forward. So thanks again. I'll see you guys on the Black Star short and long reports, getting ready to make those right now.